I'll give you a brief introduction. I think you know we have a couple of cast members here from The Martian, and Sebastian plays astronaut and flight surgeon. So, Chell, he may have some questions for you. Chris Beck is his character, and Mackenzie Davis plays a flight controller named Mindy Part. And they've had some interaction with our employees today, and we've taken them on a tour. And I did want to say, Scott, congratulations on getting to the midway point of the one-year mission. We've been thinking about you today.
Hey, it's good to talk to you, be able to talk to you guys today. It's interesting for us. We're looking forward to watching the movie. Thank you, Ellen. It's a big milestone, but I'm not going to start counting days down yet. I think I'm going to wait until March. Then I'm going to allow myself to count how many days I have remaining. Counting up for the time being. But great to see you guys there. And, hey, if you got any questions for us about living in space, this is a great spaceship we're on. And, similar to, I guess, what you guys were, telling a story about in some respects going to Mars.
I always have more basic human questions than technical ones, but if you could have anything right now, what would you want to have? Could be food, could be a hug.
The ability to leave here. I think something people don't recognize is that, being on the space station is probably a lot like being in some kind of, confinement, like isolation. You can't go outside, even though you can see outside and the Earth's incredibly beautiful. Not having the ability to leave is a pretty, an all-present feeling. And although I'm not claustrophobic at all, it would be nice to get outside. And I'm not talking about outside like on a spacewalk, but, put my feet in the grass and, feel the wind on my face kind of outside.
Jell, how are you? So I was just wondering, because I guess I was playing a flight surgeon, and my character ended up doing all these spacewalks, and so I guess what I learned is that it's not so black and white, obviously, what you guys do up there. And so I was wondering how many times do you get to go on spacewalks on a daily basis?
It's great. Well, first, let me say it's great to get to chat with you all. Like Scott said, we're very excited to see the movie, and I've read the book a couple of times already, and it's neat to see the people that are picking up these roles. Scott and I, Scott's been in space for 300 days, over 300, almost a year now, with all the consecutive time that he's been in space on previous missions. And this, of course, is my first mission. I've been up here for about 6 weeks, but neither of us has had the opportunity to do a spacewalk yet. But we are currently scheduled to do 2. We'll do a spacewalk at the end of October and maybe one in early November. And we're both really looking forward to that. It's, I think, an exciting opportunity, also a very challenging and technical type of work that I think we both enjoy doing that sort of work, accepting that type of challenge and trying to do a good job.
The other thing I was going to ask is one of the things that I actually did for research, which was kind of helpful, was I was looking up what you guys do on your Instagrams, which is kind of funny from time to time. To keep up with you guys. But I was wondering, I know you've got so many things going on up there and you're constantly busy, but is there any time at all where you guys get to play pranks on one another or something of the sort?
We haven't played too many pranks on each other, although before we started, where did I put it? We were playing, we just made up a new game. We found this elastic band, and we were guarding the opposite ends of the lab here and playing kind of space soccer. So that was a kind of a neat game. I don't think we've played any real pranks on each other yet.
Sorry, so what determines when you said you had 2 spacewalks scheduled? Is it for repairs or maintenance, or it's just to give you a treat?
No, definitely not for a treat. And the people who determine that are kind of like, Ellen and the folks that work for her and the people on the other side of her, the flight control team. And, in some cases we're fixing stuff that broke. In other cases we're doing, kind of like upgrades to the space station. We have a bunch of different tasks coming up, running some cables outside for future hardware that's going to be on the space station. We're fixing a radiator. It's not broken, but we need to put it back into its original configuration. We rewired it because we thought it had a leak at one time. So stuff like that. The spacewalk just takes so much work to get ready to do. The suits are very complicated. The procedures are very complicated. It's going to take, us a couple of weeks to get ready to do it. The ground, much, much more time in the planning and preparation for them. So it's not something that we can just do at a moment's notice. Although, if there was an emergency kind of repair we needed to do on the outside, we could probably pull it off within a few days, but that's not something we normally do.
I know you guys said you were gonna watch the movie, which we're both excited for you to see. But where are you going to watch it? I mean, what is there a specific? Can you hear me? Yeah. And if so, do you guys?
We lost.
You got me. Okay. And if so, do you get to watch anything else ever at all, or?
We lost part of your question, but I think you were asking basically how do we watch things up here and what do we have to watch. We used to just be able to watch things on the laptops, and so we would gather when we were having dinner on a Friday night. We'd gather the whole crew together, and we'd be kind of huddled around a laptop to watch a movie. Very recently, we had a projector set up that helps us with our training, but we can also utilize to watch movies. And so we have a large screen that we'll pull out, and it's about half the size of a hatch, and we'll point the projector at it. And so it's our kind of a Friday night treat to watch a movie together as a crew. And we're very fortunate in that frequently we have. We work with the studios, and they'll send up fairly recent movies that we get to watch, and we have a fairly extensive library of space movies and action movies and comedies that we like to watch as well.
I watched Hot Tub Time Machine 2 a few weeks ago.
I wasn't in that. That's funny.
That was probably a good thing.
Yes, you're right.
Mike, do you think that after you return, in April, that you'll go back up to space again, or is this your last journey?
I like, going to space. I enjoy the mission. I, enjoy the challenge. I'd like to have the opportunity to do it again, but, I'll, at that point, have well over 500 days in space. And I think my colleagues probably wouldn't appreciate it too much if I was going up here again, but you never know.
What's the first thing you're going to eat when you come back down?
Probably a salad.
I'll ask you guys a question that we get asked a lot. Having read The Martian, how well do you think you could survive by yourself on Mars in the same circumstances?
I read The Martian about a year ago and then actually just reread it this past summer. It's a tremendous story, and I think one of the things that really appeals to me is how I think technically accurate, even though it's set in the future still, that it seems like really tried to to make it accurate as possible. And frankly, I don't know that I would have the know-how to MacGyver all of the different systems to, scrub carbon dioxide and create oxygen and do all of the things that the main character, Watney, does in the book. But I think it does really speak to the mission that and the astronauts that we send to Mars. Right now on the space station, we have a tremendous support from the ground. We have a logistics chain with cargo vehicles that are coming up every few months that bring supplies and food and all sorts of cargo up to us. And when we have that mission to Mars, the astronauts that go there are going to have that depth of knowledge and expertise to be able to fix systems, to have somebody that can, that's a physician maybe that can help if anybody gets ill. There's going to have to be a lot of cross-training and a lot of technical know-how.
Hey, well, to add to what Chell mentioned, a lot of the systems we have up here are something that we're going to use someday and build upon them to go to Mars. It's really an amazing space station we have here, and the sustainable energy, if you want to call it that we use to survive. We have these huge solar arrays outside. They make electricity. We take our urine and we turn it into water, obviously using the electricity to run the hardware to do that. From that water, we make oxygen. We also, have a system that scrubs the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, and it, those two systems that make the oxygen and scrub the carbon dioxide, then combine in another system to make more water. And it's it's almost a closed loop system. Occasionally we have to add water to it. We get energy from the sun, but it's really a state of the art renewable energy system that someday we're going to take to Mars, or a version of it. Recently we've grown lettuce on board, so we have the ability to use the resources to produce food, and hopefully we'll learn enough from that to where when we do go to Mars, we'll be able to grow our own food, because, the resupply chain is going to be very far away from us, when we get there.
How did you grow the lettuce?
So we had these, we don't have dirt, but we had these, pads that had some food in them, basically. And then we, kind of like, I guess, a hydroponic almost system that we had some LED lights, and we added water to the seeds, and it grew very well, and it was actually not only did we enjoy eating it because it tasted good, but it was good nutrition, and also gave us a little bit of satisfaction from growing our own food and watching it grow and seeing some green on board, which is a kind of an uncommon color up here.
It's good to be able to achieve something in space.
Talking to Hopper down here, he was telling us how at certain points in times you guys had mice up there, or spiders, or just other living things with you, like ants. Do you currently have any of those right now, or no?
No, we don't. We didn't get any mice on the HTV Japanese vehicle, and we used our mice that we had on board earlier for the last research. It's quite possibly we might have some. Might be a JAXA experiment that has some living organisms. I know we had some worms recently. Microscopic kind of worms. I'm not sure if they're still alive. We got over 400 different experiments going on up here throughout the year I'm here, some of which we're very involved in, some of which are kind of self-contained, that, you turn it on and it kind of does their own thing, and they fly the samples to the ground or analyze the data on the ground. But, right now, no significant living things other than the 6 of us.
Is there a part of the Earth that when you guys pass over it every time, like a country or a continent or something that looks striking to you, that you look at it and you go, you know what, I'm going to go there as soon as I'm down?
I think that's one of the obviously one of the real neat things about being up here is just over the course of the day, you look down through the window and you can see different parts of the Earth. Australia is very striking. The colors, the reds and yellows and browns. So you always know when you're flying over Australia. Africa also, you can tell when you look out the window. And I always enjoy flying over the U.S. and flying over places where I've lived and where I have friends, and kind of wave and recognize that I have friends and family below. One of the real striking things about flying over the Earth, though, is when you look outside, almost invariably it's blue and white. Just how much water covers the Earth, and the clouds, always changing, always beautiful. It's very, very striking when you look outside.
And just to add to what Chell said, I always find it fascinating that the places that are the most appealing, aesthetically on the Earth, are the places that are generally harder to live, like the water, reefs, the Bahamas, things like that, and deserts are incredibly beautiful, where the areas that have a lot of forestation and North America, Europe, things like that, Asia, where a lot of the people live, don't look as beautiful as some of these places that are less less easy to survive in, maybe like Mars.
Well, we hope you enjoy the Mars that Ridley Scott created, because it looks pretty real. And I suppose finally you don't get very tired of doing those flips. I suppose is it just something you keep doing throughout the day because you can?
We're pretty busy working, so we don't do that kind of stuff too much. But I'll tell you, you definitely get better at it the longer you've been up here. I can do a pretty mean flip now after being up here for almost a year total.
And I'm getting better at it.
Can we see yours, please? No, that was great.
I know. I went for the double, but I didn't stick the landing.
No, yeah, he did hook his feet into that pole on the bottom, but that was really impressive. Have you ever gotten lost in the space station?
It's a funny question. It's a fairly small, habitable volume. So we have about the interior volume of a 5-bedroom house at this point. What's interesting, though, is you really kind of pay attention to how perception changes when you're up here on the space station. And so things are built so that this is kind of up and this is down. The lights are on the upper surfaces, and so you really kind of orient yourself in this position over the course of the day. But if you find when things are dark and if you kind of turn yourself upside down, it actually is fairly easy to get very disoriented and maybe lose your way a little bit. There was one evening where I went into the cupola, and where it's when it was very dark outside, and the cupola is our 7-bay window that looks down towards the Earth. And I was remarking to myself, "Wow, it is really, really dark. I can't see the Earth. I can't even find the handles to hold on to." And then I discovered that I was actually in one of our logistics modules, and I wasn't in the cupola at all. So if it's dark and you're disoriented, it's possible to get lost.
I've gotten lost in my crew quarters when you have an alarm that wakes you up in the middle of the night and the lights are out and you can't find the door because you think you're completely upside down.
What are your 2 watches for?
Well, one's to tell time, and it's got some fancy alarms, and the other one's a sleep study that measures how much light and acceleration, so it can tell sort of when you're sleeping, and it's a science experiment.
I see my family and my wife and children down there, so I was just waving to them, and I think they're probably very excited to meet the Winter Soldier.
Hey, Daddy.
Hey, Alexandra. You guys got out of school a little early, I see. That's awesome.
I got to miss weight training.
I still had to do my weight training up here today.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey, Tor, how are you doing, buddy?
Good.
I like your shirt.
Thanks, Daddy. He's really
You
your
got to get a high
mini-me
five
today.
from the Winter Soldier, okay? What's that, sweetie?
He's really your mini-me today. Oh. Hello.
Hey, Kai. It's great to see you guys.
Hey, babe. Happy hump day.
Happy hump day.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Scott and Jill. It was fun for us to hear your answers and to give them a chance to ask you a few questions, and hope you have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, thanks, Ellen, and great talking to you guys. And our day is almost over. It's almost 8 o'clock at night here, so we're going to probably have some dinner and watch something on TV for a little bit and then go to bed. But really enjoyed talking to you and hope the movie does well, and we look forward to seeing it up here hopefully soon.
Thank you, cast members of The Martian and JSC Center Director, Dr. Ellen Ochoa.